Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday, April 20th, and this is the Pop-Off Show. I am Gene FitzMagic, joined as always by Caleeb Pinkett, Matt Hamilton, and Nigel Downer. How you doing, fellas?
Alive and well.
Alive and well. It's been a bad week for Toronto, so I apologize to my Toronto friends. First the Raptors couldn't really, cut it, and then you guys get upset in game one against the Lightning. I mean, like, where?
Wow. Upset's a nice way to put that. We got our fucking doors blown off, but
I saw it. And you posted it. I saw you posted online. You said at least last year you blew the doors off the Lightning and ended up losing in 7. So maybe it's a reverse.
We're flipping the script. That's what it is. I'm trying to be positive.
I hear you. Caleeb, how you doing, my man? Oh, you're muted. Microphone.
Oh, can't complain. All good. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, there we go. And Nigel, you got a new hat for us. Can we talk about the hat?
Woo, we sure can. Right now, I'm representing the Toronto Marlies, which is the farm team. They play in the American Hockey League, and to the farm team to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is the best I could do. I mean, I have a couple.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I have a couple of Leafs hats, but this one is very much an exclusive. So you got the white crown, blue brim. You got the gray UV, the black and white guts there, white band, and you got this really hot Marlies logo, really raised. It's really nice. It's just the Toronto Maple Leafs colorway. And then you got their official logo on the side patch. And then you got this giant Canadian flag right here in blue. So this is the one I'm wearing today, but maybe there might be a surprise later. Who knows?
I wonder if you're wearing that for 420 because it says Marley on it and it looks like a weed leaf.
Listen, I have a lot of those colorways too.
So, at first glance, I could see someone easily making that mistake, especially on today's date. So
what's interesting, Albert? So I wonder this, since I'm on here with all Canadians today, that's 420 is a police code it's an American police code for weed smoking in progress. So is that what the Mounties call it as well? No, I'm being honest because I'm like, how is it 420 in Canada? Like that's a distinct American police number code to describe marijuana being smoked in progress. It's like a 211 robbery in progress, 187 a murder in progress. You know what I mean? Like so our police codes transfer.
Well,
I don't know.
Does the slang transfer?
I don't know if they do, but I think that's by design. That today's like a big weed smoking thing.
The world adopted it. The world adopted it.
Yeah. There's a
Just
huge event right across the street. There's going to be thousands of people across the street. I'm right across from the beach and the seawall in Vancouver, and there's stages set up. There's a huge event. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be, you walk through, there's people selling weed popsicles and oil.
Don't eat too many of those. You'll be in the hospital.
Yeah. And then
it's going to be a deal.
Yeah, and in the city down here, we got a couple huge parks here. One of them, Treaty Bellwoods, which is not far from me, downtown. There'll be some smoking for sure. The day is pretty decent, so if the rain doesn't come down, people will be out there for sure. And to Matt's point, people will be selling oils and all kinds of other accoutrements that go with the weed culture. Canadians don't mess around, man. We go hard.
You put a little French Canadian in that one, okay?
And you get the perfect hat for it, Nigel. You get the perfect hat for it today,
yeah, man.
So let's break into some headlines, man. First one up. Nope, we're not going there. We're going to baseball, which Patty moved them around on me. Let's get this first one out of the way before we talk NBA playoffs. New York Mets pitcher Max Scherzer ejected from the Los Angeles Dodgers game after umpire inspects for sticky hands. It looks like they spoke to him twice in the game. They found it on his hand at one point. They found it on his mitt. He's saying it's sweat and rosin. Do we buy that?
Not when you hear what the umpires said after, when they're like, the 3 years they've been doing the checks, they've never seen anything that sticky. And they said, we touched his hand and our fingers got stuck to his hand. So it seems like he got checked the first. I mean, I'm completely speculating, but he got checked the first couple times. And the third time he went, maybe assumed he wasn't going to get checked again and went to his bag of tricks. But yeah, whatever. Either way, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Could face a 10-game suspension. Caleb, what do you think?
I agree with Matt 100%. Like, who cares? Like, all it does is add extra grip to the ball so he can maybe make it drop a little more. If you're playing professional baseball and you can't handle a sinking pitch, Lord have mercy, Jesus. Like, come on now. It's not like he's roided up and throwing 300 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like, it's just extra torque on the ball. Like, that's all it does. You know what I mean? So to me, is it a competitive advantage? I don't know. You know, I guess it's as much as a Reebok pumps up your game in basketball or something. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's just ridiculous. Like, at this point, like, there's way more issues to worry about. Like, to me, you should have as many advantages as you can to try to win that are within the boundaries of like legality or like not super competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a competitive advantage.
This is like a fringe thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It reminds me of Major League, one of my favorite sports movies, by the way, in history. When you had the older pitcher talking to Ricky Vaughn, and he says, you know, I don't have an arm like you do. You know what I mean? I got to rub this on there, put a little bit, just gives me an extra little turn on it. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of the game. And like I said, if Aaron Judge can't hit the sinker because you put a little extra whatever on it, then the problem is with the batters, not the pitchers. Like, come on, man. It's not that much of an advantage.
I hear you. I do hate the Mets, so therefore I am going to be going against Scherzer on this one. And I'll tell you what, shame on him, because whether you did it or not, he swore in his kids' lives. That's one of the things, even if you're not lying, you don't swear on your kids' lives, because that's the next time you are lying, all you got to do is say, swear on your kids. No, he's like,
I can make others. Not important. I can make others.
I can make Scherzers abound. But you know what? And my thing is this: it's only mid-April. I'm sure you sweat in August and July. This never came up before. Like, now it's an issue in April where it's not even that hot yet. Like, you haven't even, what happened last July and August? That never came up then. So, like, why all of a sudden is it a thing in July? But I agree. Batters still got to be able to hit. Nigel, what's your take on it, man?
Hey, let's move on. I could care less.
Really?
Less. Yeah, man. Like, I agree with Caleb. You know what? I'm going to take a firm, aggressive Canadian stance. It's not. This is what you said, Gene. This is fringe, man. Like we're doing this. We're still doing this. Like, just doing a little thing to the ball. Like, come on, man. There's got to be bigger things in the game. That Houston racket that happened a couple years back. They ended up winning the championship with the drum. That's different. Like, that is something that we got to talk about. You know what I mean? But if
stealing plays.
Yeah, at this point, if we're just, we got a little stick 'em on our hands. I mean, listen, then they should have got at receivers in the National Football League or in the Canadian Football League that had them stick them on their gloves or have some extra stuff with a towel. Like, that is something that is a game changer, because I can now make these catches with my one hand, one arm. I can make them with one finger or two fingers, and I can make these catches, right? Yeah. But for me, I don't know, a little stick 'em on your hand in baseball. I don't know. I'm just kind of over it a little bit. Baseball's weird now anyway.
Let me put this out to the group then. Does it make a difference if it's because it's early in the season? Would this be a bigger deal if it was the postseason and games in that
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he'd be their number one starter. Yeah, he'd be their number one starter. So he'd lose. I mean, he probably wouldn't be suspended 10 games. That's 2 starts. He probably wouldn't be suspended 10 games in the postseason, but he'd still miss a start. That'd be huge.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into some basketball. Let's talk the NBA today, man. All right. Without Giannis, Bucks even Giannis. I'm sorry. Without Giannis, I got a cold still. Bucks even series beating the Heat 138-122. Matt's gonna call me out anytime I mispronounce anything because I said Levine the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And he went out of his way to text me saying here's the pronunciation as per Google.
Yeah. So, well, I never heard that before. I was like, what?
That was funny.
Down here they say Levine sometimes. So anyway, so what do we got? Giannis not playing. They were still able to come out and really and put a number on Chicago. What are we thinking?
It was the Heat.
I'm sorry,
And
the Heat.
what I would say, and I see you still got nightmares from DeRozan's daughter, DR. So you think everything is Chicago, but here's the deal: the Bucks should be able to beat Miami without Giannis at all. Giannis shouldn't even have to play this series, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because they already lost Tyler Hero. That's like firepower that's a major hit for Miami. Jimmy Buckets is Jimmy Buckets, but it's like Hero was his Robin, like to be able to give you 15 to 20 in a game. That's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just imagine if they had his 20 last night, they would have won the game by 4. You see what I mean? So it's like losing Tyler Hero, I think, ends the Heat season. They can be competitive. They're professional players, but I think it's over. And Giannis shouldn't have to play. They should rest him, let his back get ready, because they're going to need him for the rest of the playoffs. Definitely after this series. But as of now, they should be able to handle Miami. Absolutely. I think so.
Nigel?
This to me is like, the Justice League versus like the Legion of Doom. And what I'm saying is like, Milwaukee is so much fun to watch. I don't know if you guys caught the game or if our listeners or viewers caught the game, but like when they're fired up on all cylinders, man, that place is ecstatic. Like they're having a good time. The fans are having a good time. There's nothing that's going to stop them. I mean, we got 5 starters, all in double digits, 2 people from the bench. Ingles came out, he gave you 17. Connaughton gave you 22. Like it's just this team is they're gonna get you. It doesn't matter who's gonna be on the floor, somebody's gonna get you, and you have to adapt and adapt quickly. Miami is not that team. Although they had 4 out of the 5 players go in double digits, they're not that team that's gonna adapt fast enough, man. They're just not gonna do it. So I think, to Kelo's point, I think that Milwaukee is going to they should be beating Miami rightfully so without Giannis. They should be doing that dirty deed, whether it's tight or a bigger margin. It doesn't matter. They've got the firepower, man. Shout out to Brook Lopez. I mean, that guy, he played like he was just a young kid all over again. No expression on his face, but just putting in the work, dropping 25. It was great, man. I loved watching that, man.
Brook Lopez with a resurgent year this year, was a finalist for the for Defensive Player of the Year. 25 points yesterday, stepped up big time. Drew Holiday, also a tremendous defensive player, was also at some Defensive Player of the Year votes. 24 points, 11 assists, and you called it. Connaughton and Ingles 6 of 10 from 3, 5 of 6 from 3. Overall as a team, 51% from 3-point range. They had 25 threes yesterday, and that's pretty much where I think really they couldn't stop them from behind the arc. Matt, what do you say?
I mean, I'm going to be quick here because I agree with both Caleb and Nigel that, they should beat the Heat without Giannis. I think game 1, they were a little discombobulated when he went down. It felt like a one-off. Felt like a one-off just because it's like, okay, cool, Giannis is gone. Yeah, he's the best player in the NBA, but you should still smoke this team. Yeah. And it looks like they kind of, were prepared and ready to go, and they just that's the way it should go. The series shouldn't.
It's different when you lose your star player and you have 2 days to prepare for another go around with him, rather than it happen and you have like a whole half of a game to play. So at this point, Miami, do they even have a chance to even sneak another one in Miami? You think this is a gentleman's sweep?
Probably.
I could see Miami possibly getting one more. Like, maybe, but I think. I call the gentleman's sweep, but it could go 6 if Giannis doesn't play. If Giannis comes back, gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, I think so too. Nice.
Yeah,
same boat. I think Miami. There's a good chance they'll squeak out one more, but I just don't think they have the energy to do any more than that.
Just not deep enough too. Milwaukee has players for every minute of the game that they're just deep and they're long.
Their bench is deep. Their bench is deep.
Listen, when you have Connaughton and Ingles coming off for a combined 39 points combined off the bench, and there's other players on that bench too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a solid team from top to bottom, and if they're gonna hit 51% from 3-point range, nobody has a shot. So
right.
All right. So without Ja, another team missing a star player, Grizzlies even series beating Lakers 103-93. Who's surprised at this one? Caleb, I know you gotta be.
I was surprised just because I expected the Lakers to start running away with this. And I still think the Lakers are gonna win this series. It's just I was surprised to see the fight that Memphis put up. And I was not surprised because I knew how good, actually, I forgot how good Jones is, the backup point guard. He was balling yesterday and really showed up. And with Memphis, they've always been a great defensive team. So they showed up yesterday. They shut down my boy Austin Powers. They also shut down Hachimura, right? So like stopping them, it forced AD. AD didn't show up yesterday. Nope. There was an APB out for him. You know what I mean? I think he was having a little too much fun in the Memphis nightlife. You know what I mean? If you know anything about Memphis, you know the type of nightlife. It ain't a regular club. So he was in there, you know what I mean, hanging with Ja, doing what he shouldn't have been doing. That's what I think. He looked a little tired. His bags looked a little extra heavy yesterday. But be that as it may, they're coming back to LA. I think they win game 3, absolutely. And then it's going to be game 4. If they can win game 4, it's absolutely a wrap. But if Memphis, because Ja could come back at any time, I just don't think his hand is ready. It's a shooting hand. I didn't know. I thought it was his offhand. It's a shooting hand. That's a tragedy. You know what I mean? And it's not just the shot, but like I said yesterday, it's when the defense swats that hand, goes for the steal, all of that, and you get it hit. That's where the issue is. So I think the Lakers in 6. But yeah, I'm looking to and Dylan Brooks. Shout out to Dylan Brooks. I love him calling out LeBron, trolling him like that because the only thing about LeBron that's the difference. Like I think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. I'm too old not to think so. I'm 43. LeBron is younger than me. Like joking, like I grew up with MJ. So in my mind, it's Mike, and I haven't seen LeBron do anything that make me think he's better. But one difference is Michael Jordan. You say anything to Mike, it's a wrap. Any player say something, he says what? Now he's killing you. He's going to drop 40 on you, 45, like doing this, coming down the court on you. LeBron got called out. He got called old, and he's like irrelevant. He says, I only respect you if you drop 40. So he's challenging. If LeBron does not drop 40, tragedy. It's like it's time to get him. It's time to step up and show him why you're LeBron James. And if you can't, then you know what I mean? There's that. So that's all I got to say about that.
It wasn't even what Dylan Brooks said. It was also how he said it so nonchalantly. So like, I don't give an F. Like he was kind of like, oh, him? Oh, he's old. I'm like, I'm not even worried. Like, I'm not even worried about LeBron. We're talking about LeBron. And so it wasn't even what he said. It was the demeanor in which he said it. And, you know, the difference between LeBron and MJ is and listen, Dylan Brooks, he's a professional ball player. I'm not knocking him. He's not a slouch. But anybody of his ball playing caliber in the 90s against Jordan would never have even remotely said one word like that to Jordan. They just never.
Hell no.
Listen, there's some good players that might, like John Starks might have been a little disrespectful at times, but Dylan Brooks isn't John Starks in the 90s.
You saw what Michael Jordan did to John Starks,
and I did see that, and we did see that.
Tragedy.
Yes.
It was. They should have called
body
bag.
Body bag.
It was. It
should have been a felony for what he did to that man.
As well as Reggie Miller, what he also did to the Garden too. But
but Reggie was no punk. Reggie could give it as much as he could take it.
No, he was a guy I loved to hate when I was, and now I look back on him and respect him a lot. But where I thought they lost this game for sure to me was, listen, Anthony Davis was trash this game. 4-14, only 13 points. Xavier Tillman in no world should Xavier Tillman ever outplay AD, and he outplayed AD. 22 points, 10 of 3 from the field. It was almost like roles were reversed. AD should have the game Tillman had. Tillman should have the game that AD had, and that's to me where they lost this game. Nigel, what say you about it?
Listen, this is like a tale of two Robins, and I say that with the OG, Dick Grayson, and the new kid on the block. I'm forgetting his name right now, but I'll grab it later. I should know this. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you don't know. You have one Robin who's who's Memphis, the Tim Drake. They're kind of like, they're pretty wholesome, and you can rely on them. They'll hold themselves accountable. And then you have the next Robin, which is the Lakers, which is kind of like the dark horse, and nobody expects them to do good, but he's going to do even better than that, and he thinks he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's what the Lakers are. And right now, the only two storylines that matter to me, I don't care who comes out of this one, because the only two storylines that matter to me is LeBron and Brooks. That's the only, that's not the number one thing, because you guys already touched on that. So I'm not really going to go deep on it, but like having somebody go into LeBron's face, and just look him right down and then like fade away with the like it's almost like, you know, you're getting farther away from a microphone. You can still hear him go, and LeBron just looking at him like not sure what to do is fascinating to me. And the other storyline is Davis against everybody's appendages. Like everybody is going to get any kind of swipe and it's going to hurt him in some degree. So yeah, he got a cut over his eye. He got an elbow. Listen, I don't wish any ill will against him. I'm just saying it's just like inevitable. Every game from here on in, or every other game, this guy is going to get some kind of an injury. And it's a shame, man, because you just want him to be healthy and play like the boss that he is. Cannot wait to see what the future holds for him, because I want to know what his legacy is, because right now I'm not sure how I feel. But this is a fun series, man, and I don't know how it goes, but it doesn't matter. Both these teams are going to get destroyed next round anyway. So
possibly. Matt, how did you feel about the Dillon Brooks, the saga between Dillon Brooks and LeBron?
Well, Dillon Brooks is in LeBron's kitchen. He's making breakfast. He's making toast, spilling coffee. He dropped an egg on the floor. Like he's right in there. And I love it. Got
to back it up now, though.
That's the thing, man. If LeBron, like you're pissing LeBron off, he comes out and drops 40 on you and the Lakers win the next game. It's like, maybe don't do that. But again, like this was a bad loss for the Lakers because, no one's mentioned D'Angelo Russell yet. He was fucking awful. He's
disappeared. He disappeared.
Yeah, and AD, like you can't have games like that if you're a superstar.
No.
And yeah, it was bad. Like the Lakers should beat Memphis when they're healthy. If they don't have Ja, that shouldn't,
And it's not just Ja, Matt. It's Clark and Adams that they don't have. They're missing three starters. Three.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Yeah, that was a bad loss last night. But
another thing too is Lakers shot only 26 from three last night. You're not going to win many games shooting 26 from three.
They improved as a 3-point shooting team at the deadline when they got rid of Westbrook and stuff, which was necessary because they couldn't shoot for shit. But they're still not a great 3-point shooting team. They're all right. But 26% ain't gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna cut it. It's just not gonna cut it. All right, so on to the next one. We got the Nuggets go up 2-0, beating Minnesota 122-113. I think the only surprise out of that game was the fact that it was that close. I mean, I don't think anyone expected the Timberwolves really show up in the series, especially after they got mollywhopped game one. But I'll tell you what, Anthony Edwards had a nice bounce back game. He disappeared game one, but had a nice bounce back game two. Efficient shooting, 41 points. Matt, what's your take on the game from Denver?
Yeah, this series shouldn't last that long, especially when Murray was cooking last night. Porter was really efficient. Jokic was doing Jokic things, and
almost a triple double.
Yeah, and this shouldn't. Yeah, let's get the series over with as quick as possible. Like Ant went 4-1, and they still couldn't do anything. Although Cat was brutal, and again another game with 5 fouls. God, he runs around. I feel like he's got a bonus in his contract for getting fouls.
He hits 5 a lot.
It's like,
he hits him early, and then he misses so much of the second half.
He's overly aggressive so often, and I think he confuses that with good defense. But anyway, this series should be a quick one.
It's almost like Minnesota needs to be absolutely perfect every minute of every game in order to even eke out a win. And so my take is that obviously they obviously can't do that, right? But is Murray, who 40 points last night for Murray, I always found Murray to be a nice player. Am I underrating him? Is he a star, Caleb?
Yes, he's a star. Not a superstar, but a star. And he's very good. He just has to manage that left knee. Because even last night he tweaked it and he was hunched over and that's a thing. But I think Denver is going to make noise because they are a solid, cohesive unit. That's what I was talking about yesterday.
Mhm.
Like the idea that when the teams that know how to play together do better in a playoffs because it's the best out of 7. So you can have a superstar, you can have these superstars, but if your team doesn't gel together, a team without a superstar can beat you. So I think Denver has that. They have their superstar in Jokic, but then they're a cohesive unit, man. They're going to be a hard out, and I think they're going to sweep Minnesota, so they'll have time to rest. And I think Jamal definitely needs that.
Nigel, anything that Minnesota can do to win to get out at one of these games, get out from at least get one win? Can there's anything that they can do differently?
Anything that what Minnesota can do?
Yeah, what does Minnesota need to do to at least grab one win out of the series?
Yeah, they need to keep wearing those jerseys, man. Listen, I'm gonna come out with a different angle. This was the prettiest game all week. These jerseys for me were sick. Like these jerseys were nice. Like we're talking the Minnesota jersey with the white and then the bars of color across the chest. Are you kidding me? Minnesota underneath with the number and that navy blue. Let's go, Nike. And also huge shout out to Nike because those Denver Nuggets jerseys are clean. That colorway with the navy, like the dark blue with like the white Denver, and then you have the red and the gold piping around it. Man, I just like the jerseys. I wouldn't even pay attention to the damn game. Give me them jerseys, man. Sponsorship, where you at?
I like the old school days where every team just had one jersey. It was but two, the white jersey and the off color jersey, the home and away jersey. I miss those days. Now every team has it's not like they have different style jerseys. They have different colors. Like it's like you can't tell sometimes who's playing. I guess I'm old school, get off my lawn guy when it comes to the jerseys. But yeah, so I think we're looking at. I personally think we're all looking at a sweep too. Like Jokic, 1 assist and 1 rebound away from a triple double, 27-point triple double. Listen, Anthony Edwards scoring 41, and they can only still come within 9 points. I think that's as good as it gets from them this series. I think even at home they're gonna get stomped.
There's a chance. There's a game where Murray will have a game where he has like 8 points.
And that's why I underrate him a little bit.
Yeah, injury or sometimes he has an off game, and Porter will go 0 for 6 from 3. And so there's a recipe, and then there's a recipe if there's a game where Cat drops 35 and Anthony scores 30, and then they could squeak that one, but it's it's probably not.
I get
maybe
you.
One game. Maybe one game.
I really want Denver to go deep because I want to see that squad. I want to see what happens when their backs up against the wall in a situation like this, like in the playoffs when everything is on the line. During the season, like we know what the season is, man. We know that they had the best home record or one of the best home records. We know what they were like on the road. Like we know all these things. But right now, when they're playing with everything at stake, if they really want to get that like star title that Caleb's talking about, if Murray really wants to transcend not only just being a Canadian, but and not only just being a point guard, like and being inconsistent, like Matt was saying, like let's have some more consistency, cohesiveness, and let's be a team. I want to see them go deep and really get challenged and see what happens. And I don't want blowouts. I want to see what happens.
Sweet. Jamal Murray's a Canadian?
Yeah, buddy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're everywhere, and y'all don't even know it.
Yeah.
No,
you guys got a good
slowly but surely we're infiltrating the NBA.
Yeah,
slowly but surely.
SGA's Canadian boy. Canadian.
Yeah, I know that. All right, so let's talk a little debatable topics, guys. Eastern Conference teams. Let's go around the horn. Which team is in trouble right now? Would you say
Atlanta? No question. Atlanta is the only team that I don't see winning a single game. It's Atlanta. Miami can win one.
They already did.
Atlanta. They can. Yeah, that's right. They can go. The entire Celtics team can go to Magic City and drink all night and not even go to sleep and still go and beat them, right? That's how bad Atlanta is because they're not a cohesive unit. Because
no front court either.
Yes, they're imploding internally. When the lead singer doesn't get along with the lead guitarist, there's a problem, and that's what's happening with Atlanta, especially with Ice Train and the rest of the squad. He don't talk to the drummer. He don't talk to bass. He don't like the manager. It's just a horrific thing. He's singing the song solo. He's singing songs they ain't rehearsed. It's just a tragedy. So you know what I mean? I don't see them winning anything. To me, it's Atlanta by far.
There you go. Matt, who do you got?
I mean, he's right. And also, you'd probably toss Brooklyn in there too. They just don't have it. They're two teams that are completely outmatched. And like to Caleb's point, like nobody likes Trey. It seems like, and he seems like a dick teammate, and it just doesn't seem to he doesn't have a chance because Boston is multiple players, Derek White and Marcus Smart, who can guard him. And so if he's going to pick and roll off somebody, there's going to be more trouble for him. And then he's such a poor defensive player that they're just going to keep hunting him when Boston has the ball. They just don't really – it's hard to win if he's your best player.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to be a Robin or a third.
Yeah.
Nigel, who's in trouble for you?
It's Atlanta for sure. It's just like it's hands down. This is a bad situation. This is a very bad situation, man. And I was listening to a pod earlier this morning, and they brought up the whole thing like, is Trae Young, is he done in Atlanta, or what's the situation there? It's very interesting, their perspective on it, because they feel like maybe the organization has gone past the threshold of getting anything good for Trae Young. Like maybe there was a point where a season ago or 2 seasons ago where they could have done a little something and maybe got a little something back. But now, because of the way that things have transpired within him and the organization and the team, it sounds like it could go very poorly when this season is done. Something's going to happen to that team.
Never forget, they traded Luka Doncic to get him.
I know. They got to be, I mean, what they right? And to Nigel's point, that's exactly what it is too. Is his stock is so low right now? It couldn't be any lower. It's the lowest it's been in his career. You're gonna get cents on the dollar for him. A team's gonna be able to come in and completely underpay and get good value for him because they know that you're gonna be stuck with him otherwise. So typically, if I was just talking in this series, I would say the Nets, only because I didn't expect Atlanta to have a chance in this anyway. But I'll tell you who I think is. I do still think Atlanta's in the most trouble, just because I feel bad for them in the sense of they're a 7th seed. They probably would have been better off not even making the playoffs and gotten to be a lottery team this year, and getting to maybe restock the cupboard a little bit with some good players. But they missed out on a lottery pick by going into the tournament where they're just going to get steamrolled. They have, and we've said it a couple of times. We said it earlier today. I said it before. They have zero front court, really. John Collins, but other than that, Clint Capella, but he's old, and they have zero dominance on that front court. I think that's really where they need to fix it, and I think they would have probably been better off. They were better suited not even making the tournament this year, getting a lottery pick, and then trying to get someone higher in the draft. As anybody can tell you, one of the worst places to be is that 8th seed, a perennial 8th seed, 7th, 8th seed, because you miss out on the lottery picks. And you don't really ever have a chance to really improve your team because you're not really getting the ability to pick higher in the draft. So I agree with you guys. I got to say Atlanta as well.
And on top of that, man, just to further support your points there, Gene. Don't forget, this team is just going through a massive implosion. Yeah. So the Nets are just in bad shape. Period. It's just not an organization or a squad that anybody wants to really play for, because they had to get all the cancers out of there, and then it's just not a good look, man. It's just not a good look. So I was talking about Atlanta with that part, but I agree with you. The Nets. Yeah.
I was saying the Nets in this series. I feel like the Nets are done because they could have had a shot to maybe make a little bit of noise, not win, but make some noise. I think at this point, I don't even see them. I could see them getting swept out, and they have some nice players there. But I think Atlanta's even in more trouble after the season. How do you fix that team with the spot in the draft that they'll be picking? But all right, so let's get back into it. All right, Wizards fire general manager Tommy Shepard. Caleb, what do the Wizards need to do to be competitive?
Sell the team.
I mean, they make bad move after bad move after bad move. Do they not?
Messed up. I'm just playing. No, they really have to revamp. You need to get somebody in there like a Jerry West, right? Not saying him, but I mean like one. So what Jerry West did, he went to the Clippers, rebuilt the Clippers, and left. Went to Golden State, rebuilt Golden State, and left, right? Like you need somebody who understands how to build a franchise, the key players that you need in order to have something that's continual, not for one season, but is continuous. So I think with the Wizards, that's what they need. They need somebody who understands how to build a team and get the pieces in. Somebody that understands how to pick in a draft, build the team, and start and get it going. So I think the best of the smartest in the first move was what they just did. Their first move was the best move, getting rid of their GM, because that's who does all that. Bring in a GM who has proven themselves. What was the dude from Toronto, the brother, the African brother that
Nigeria.
Yeah, like you want people like that can come in and know what to do. He built that team so good where all they needed was one extra piece, which was Kawhi Leonard, and they get a title. You know what I mean? Like that means the team is together. Kawhi can't do it on his own. He needs a team, and you see what I mean. So they need something like that. Outside of that, it's DC. Now DC is Chocolate City. My family's from Baltimore, so I do know about DC. And DC is it's nice. But in people's minds, players don't think that's where I want to go play. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So they got to make the location a little bit more appealing as well. You know what I mean? So there's that.
What do you think, Nigel? Is there a chance we can get your guy over here into DC to help rebuild?
Yeah, there's zero chance. But what I do want to say is that I'm with Caleeb like 100% on this. I got family in DC too, and in Baltimore as well. And like for me, there's no other franchise I think in the last decade that's wanted to be so much more than they are or have been. Like literally in the NBA, it just feels like DC is always not even on the cusp, but they just want it so bad. And I don't mean they want to chip. I don't mean they want to win the Eastern Conference. I mean they just want to be contenders, or they just want to be a good look. Like I was right on board when they did a whole rebrand, not when they went from the Bullets to the Wizards, the OG stuff when Jordan was there, but I mean after when they rebranded. They have one of the best logos in the game, which is a basketball, and you have the DC Tower and you have a star that's the top of the basketball. It is one of the best in the game. The rebrand for them is real, but nothing came with that. A lot of times when teams rebrand, that season ends up being one of their better seasons just because the hype is so real. They come back down to earth the next season or mid or towards the end of the season, but they come up. Washington hasn't done that, and they're not going to do it with Porzingis and Kuzma, man, who are also, I think, in their option years right now. So it's like, you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get coming out of this season. I wish nothing but the best for them because it would be nice to have DC on the map, to have the Wizards doing the thing. But it's going to be another hard couple years for them, I think, man.
You know, DC has such a rich history too of being so solid early. You know, like earlier, like before they were when they used to be the Bullets. And you know what? I do like the rebrand because I thought the whole transformation from Bullets to Wizards, where I get why they felt like they needed to change the name. That new uniform system, that teal, light blue, and it was silly. It was a silly looking jersey. I'm glad they switched back to the old colors. If you don't want to change the name back, that's fine. Stay with the name that you have now, the Wizards. But they changed the colors back. But you know what? You have missed a playoff 3 out of 4 years, 129 and 129 wins, 179 losses over 4 years. I mean, nobody gets to keep the job after that, right? So I mean, like, what do you think, Matt? Like, what can they do? Anything different from what these guys are saying to kind of get that situation settled?
I mean, Caleeb's got a good idea. I don't think he can get beside. Well, I hope he can't. I don't ever want to lose beside.
Agreed.
Some of Shepard's moves weren't like bad. Like the signing the Beal to the Supermax. Obviously, he's not a Supermax player, but what are you going to do? Let him go?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I agree.
They have to keep him. The trading for Westbrook brought a lot of energy to that team. And then getting rid of him and getting assets for it was good. Kristaps was good last year. Kuzma was good last year. They both, like Nigel said, they both have player options. But yeah, I don't know. Do people think this team was going to be good?
No.
You know, I just feel like it's a blah kind of team. There's just nothing. There's nothing special about it, and it's a shame because it's a good, loyal fan base when they're good.
They gave away Hachimura, who wasn't playing
he never should have did that. But you know what?
He's been pretty good for the Lakers.
He's been excellent with the Lakers.
Yeah,
$6 million a year type.
Yeah, that's not a great look, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a tough beat for him, but like they need a lot of help there.
Yeah.
They need to draft one.
Listen, the DC ceiling is low as well as all their buildings by regulation and law. You know what I mean? Like they can't build above a certain.
You had that one dialed up.
I just thought of it now. I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick.
So is this a job that GM's gonna covet? Is this a job that anybody wants? Or are they gonna have to get some guy that's
it depends on the person. It depends on the person. If the person's like, no, I want that because you need an ego. Mm-hmm. Like you need Pat Riley turned Miami around. Like you need somebody like that who's saying, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And if I do it, I get all the credit. Those guys that I mentioned, they get all the credit for the turnaround for their teams.
That's
you
true.
See what I'm saying?
No matter who the coach is, they don't.
That's right. It's not about the coach.
You actually knocked the knock on Spoelstra is that Riley is there. If there is a knock on Spoelstra, that's it.
It's Pat Riley. I mean, but again, Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach. It's sad that people try to take away anything from him because he has to do that job. But what I mean is he has a boss who knows what the hell he's doing. That's what I'm saying. You could have the best coach in the world, but your GM is like, oh, I'm trading this player. Oh, I'm you're like, no, I need him. Don't draft him. Get this person. You know what I mean? Like if you're out of sync, there's nothing you can do if the GM is in control, right? So again, they need a GM in there who has the ego, who says, I want it. I want to turn this team around and get all the credit because it's like Matt said, it's a lot of work. So you need somebody who's arrogant enough to want to take that on. That's what it really is.
And you'll get some runway too, because it's not, people will understand they're not expecting a 1-year turnaround. So you will have a couple years to kind of do something. So you will have some runway to do some stuff.
Is there anybody out there that has that kind of track record that can turn the team around?
Absolutely. I mentioned
available.
A lot of them.
But Riley's not going to DC.
Maybe they won't leave. I don't know. But money talks and BS walks. And people like challenges. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You offer enough money and it's a challenge because it's not just I'll call it in, right? Yeah. No, you got to really work. You got to really use your mind, right? So people like that. People like challenges. Somebody is going to want that job. I guarantee it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I guarantee it. So it's gonna be interesting. What's the dude in Philly? The dude from the Rockets. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name.
Morey.
Right. Morey up in Philly. Like again, like you need people like that. You know what I mean? Like, or it's the same issue with Orlando. Orlando to me is in the same position as Washington. Don't nobody care what Orlando does.
But I think Orlando has a brighter future because I think they have younger players that I think they have a brighter
future because they have Disney World in their backyard. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They're building a prison in the neighborhood now, so they want to build a prison there, so we'll see how that works out.
Exactly. But that's all I'm saying. I think somebody with enough ego should do it.
I get it. All right. Well, you know what do we got next? We have good old Mike Brown wins his second Coach of the Year. Well deserved. Nigel, what do you say?
Yeah,
looks like Al Roker right there.
He does actually. Yeah, man. I don't have a lot of things to say about this because listen, you take a team like that and you turn it around, and not only do you finally make the playoffs after decades of not, and now you're making even a better run in it. Like you're justifying your case. Like we deserve to be here. They're up 2-0 against Golden State. Are you kidding me? Like Golden State is beyond frustrated. His defense is just like stopping everything that the Splash Brothers have been trying to do. Draymond's out for, I know we're going to talk about that later, but now Draymond's suspended. Like, yeah, man, give the guy his flowers. Absolutely. I think good for him.
You know, again, he won it once before. 66-year win in Cleveland in the 08-09 season.
Right.
I'll tell you what I love even more than the fact that he's got a third seed and he won 48 games here. He's built an identity with the Kings. They're young, they're scrappy, they're tough. To me, it's the identity that he built there. Matt, what do you think? I mean, is like, was he your guy? Yeah. Would he be your pick?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, and I thought it was a good pick. I mean, also like a lot of these awards are narrative.
Yeah.
Has a lot to do with it, and turning around a team like that. Like De'Aaron Fox last year was on the trade block, and they weren't sure he was going to fit with the team, and there wasn't a lot of market for him. He was a talented player, and look what he's done this year. And so you got to give the coach some credit for that. And yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Nigel said too. Like, give him his flowers. He was great. It's a fun story. They're a fun team. They got the Warriors on the ropes. Somebody picked Sacramento to win that series.
All right.
So I'm loving it so far. Mike Brown for president.
There you go.
How about prime minister in Canada? You can
have no. We don't want him. We don't want him that much.
Caleb, what do you think about what Mike Brown's building up there? Is this an award he can win more than once in Sacramento with what he's building there?
He can't. If they go far this season, he won't win it again next season because now it's expected. The reason why you get coach of the year is you do something that's unexpected. You know what I mean? And I love it for Mike Brown. One, he got when he did well in Cleveland, but didn't win anything. He didn't get any credit because it's LeBron James. It's LeBron James, right? So then he goes to the Lakers and he doesn't do anything in LA. They actually go down. So he got demoted when he lost his job. He didn't get a head coaching job. He went to Golden State as an assistant coach, which is why I believe they're doing what they're doing. He was there for over 5 seasons. He has 3 rings with them. He knows that team just as good as Steve Kerr. He knows exactly what to do. He knows what they don't like. He knows how to piss Draymond off. Like, with that stuff with Sabonis, Sabonis should win an Oscar for that. Yeah. Draymond barely tapped on him.
I agree.
I watched it 100 times. He barely did. And Sabonis,
he was rolling around riding in pain. It was the WWE.
And then he's so hurt. And then the next play, skies out the building with the dunk. But he's so hurt. Stop it. It's beautiful. But that's Mike Brown. Mike Brown's like, just how you get Draymond out. You know what I mean? Do a little something. It's like what Phil Jackson used to do with Dennis Rodman. So when they played the Jazz, he had Dennis Rodman. He was like, look, Karl Malone, he's not too fond of people he thinks are like you, if you know what I'm saying. So when you play defense on him, who says you have to wear underwear? Maybe you shouldn't shower. And Dennis Rodman would literally go up to Karl Malone and guard him and like grind on him like this. And Karl be all mad, throwing elbows, foul. And Rodman just go down court, like got him, like it's a mental thing. He's pushing the buttons. Mike Brown is doing that with the Warriors. That's why they're down 0-2. It's Mike Brown. Now, that team, Matt is 1,000% right. Those guys, those kids, because they're all in their 20s, I could be their dad. That's so crazy. It's like those kids are out there balling. They're hungry. They want to win, but they're being expertly coached. But it's because of his intimate knowledge of that team that no other coach has, that they'll see. Nobody else.
Does this make a problem for me?
I think everybody knows how to piss Draymond off. I don't think that's a unique thing. I feel like I can do it.
He's easy to get under the skin of because he's a tough, hard-nosed player. Could you imagine like Lance Stevenson? Remember Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron's ear? Can you imagine him pulling that with Draymond?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That was so funny.
Yeah.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little NFL. Rams trading Allen Robinson to the Steelers. Has he got something left in the gas tank, Nigel?
Hell yeah, he does. Listen, I know I'm a homer. I know that. But we're talking about a vet who's going to add a lot of substance to an already budding receiving core. If there's 2 things that the Steelers, maybe 2.5, 2A and 2B. If there's a couple things that the Steelers know how to do really well that they've been doing for the last couple decades, obviously build a defense. No matter what, the defense has always been pretty good, if not excelling. And 2, building a great receiving core, regardless if we have whoever's taking the snaps or not. We always have a decent receiving core as well as a hard-nosed running back. We've changed our style of running backs as of recently, but I digress. Back to the receiver thing. I think he's going to bring a lot of veteran insight into the game. He's going to help Pickens out a ton. It's going to help Pickett out a ton. This is great, man. And we're not even losing that much. You're talking about seventh round,
rounder.
2 7th round picks, like that's 200 and whatever, 235, 231 or something.
They get,
and they get a 7th round pick too. Yeah. I think they just switched 7th rounders.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that's
more of a salary dump for LA. It's more of a salary dump.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm okay with that, man, because I think he's just gonna help the squad. I'm okay with that. We're fresh, we're new, we're trying to come back up. We still finished with a winning record last year, so we got to keep doing the same thing.
I'll tell you what, the one thing that the Steelers always do, and you touched on it, is they always find quality receivers, and they never spend a 1st round pick or a 2nd round pick on them. They find them in 3rd, 4th, 5th round, 6th rounders. They find these guys, and they become stars. If you look at all the big receivers they've had over these last 10, 15 years, how many of them were 1st rounders? Probably not many. There were a lot of them were 3rd rounders, 4th rounders, 5th rounders. So I mean, whatever they do to start as far as judging their receivers, they find guys late in the draft. But let's turn attention to Matt. Matt, you're a Cowboy guy. Could this have been a good fit for you guys? If you knew it was a question, you guys need some help on receivers, no?
We just got Brandon Cooks.
You trust Brandon Cooks?
Hell yeah, I trust Brandon Cooks.
Would you rather Brandon?
God. Oh my God. Go ahead.
He's been awesome the last 2 years. Well, last year he was hurt a bit, which also he's about 1 concussion away from
That's
never
what I'm saying.
playing again. But we got him for nothing. Basically, was it like a 6th round pick or something? And
this would have cost you a 7th.
But they're eating a lot of the salary. Yeah, I don't know. I had Allen Robinson on my fantasy team, so I watched him. He stinks. He can't get any separation. Having said that, for the Steelers, I like the trade. It's a salary dump. You said because I thought they did a great job getting rid of Claypool last year. They got a 2nd round pick for Claypool.
Yeah,
so
huge.
So that was great. They got Pickens and Washington there. So you throw Robinson in, hey, maybe he gets it back. I don't know. Maybe it's a good off season, but it's a low risk, high reward move, and it didn't cost you anything. So
and that's what I'm saying, right? Like I'm not saying he's going to come in and be a star. Like I never want to imply that or said that. It's more like the how much of a vet and what he can provide with the team. Like literally, he might even just get four catches a game, maybe 6 targets max. Like who knows, right? But I just think, like to your point, I think it's the low risk, high reward.
That's exactly what it is, and I think it's going to be more what he can teach these young receivers. There's a lot of young receivers in that receiver room. It's about what he's going to basically impart on.
Pickens is nasty.
But again, they're going to need a veteran presence. They even have a young quarterback. They need a veteran presence in that locker room. They need a couple of them. Have one in the quarterback room, have one in the receiver room, one in the defensive room. I think this is what he's going to be. He's going to be worth his weight in gold just on the veteran leadership that he's going to impart over there more than anything. Caleeb, what do you think? Who won this trade?
I agree with that. I think his value will be more in the locker room than actually on the field production. I think he's past his prime with that. And to Matt's point, the only thing I'll say is, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I don't really remember separation being a part of Robinson's game. His was always like the physicality, possession. Like he was big, he would out jump you. He would, you know what I mean? Like use his body to get passes. And I think he can be helpful for Pickett with that. Right? Like a little bit. I also think he'll be able to help Pickett advance his game, be a better quarterback, because a veteran receiver be like, look, no. You don't do that to your receivers. You put the ball here. You do, you know what I mean? Like things to help him get it, because he has a lot of young receivers who may or may not know all of those secrets. So I think the veteran presence will be more beneficial inside the locker room and then on the practice field than his individual performance on the day, like on the game. But I think it will permeate. You like that word? That's the word of the day, y'all. Permeate through the team.
Nigel gave us accoutrement. Caleeb will just permeate.
Yeah. This is a big day for words on the pod, baby. It's a big day for words.
I agree with all those points. And again, I think Caleeb was right. He was never really a separation receiver. He was always that possession receiver that you could get the pass to him. He maybe gets a yard or two after the catch, but it's all about him going out and reaching up and getting it and saving an errant throw from the receiver more than anything. And I think he could do that more than anything else. A young receiver needs a guy that can do that, right? He's going to be off
Yes.
target because he's going to come under pressure a little bit. He's going to need to know how to be more accurate. So as he learns his accuracy, you're going to need a guy that's going to be able to go up and get it and not have to have it right in his kitchen for him to catch it. But yeah, so there's that. Let's get on to the next one. Tua Tagovailoa, I pronounced that name correctly at least, considered retirement after concussions. Anybody see his post, that press conference he had yesterday? It was kind of sad. I felt bad for him a lot because he's talking about how he wanted to play for his kids and stuff. But I'll tell you what I don't get, and I'll get your opinion on this, guys, next. Is he said that if I can find the note on it too, he said that the doctor said to him, he quotes, "No medical evidence proves that concussions are any more likely." How do we know that? We were and Caleb, your brother-in-law, he probably did enough research just on the movie he was in, could tell you. We barely know anything. We don't really know the CTE, the damage that CTE causes. How do we know that? How can we sit there as doctors and say he's no more likely to get more concussions? They seem to come in bunches. How can they say that to him? And is there someone dropping the ball here medically for this kid?
It's the same way doctors could tell us back in the 50s that cigarettes don't cause cancer.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know yet. We can't say it, but that's why
that's an NFL doctor who's paid to say the things to keep the product on the field. That's all it is. It's so stupid. Kids know that concussions, and more of them. Like, he is concussion prone. Why do you think Matt just said, but I do know Cooks is one concussion away from never playing? Because we all know. It's so evident. Take it out of football. I'm a huge UFC fan. Once a fighter gets knocked out, everybody says it's a lot easier for them to get knocked out again.
Yes.
Something happens. It's just different. You can hit them with a brick and they don't go nowhere until the first time they do. Then next thing you know, they're getting knocked out with jabs. It's something happens. I believe I've met Tua. He's a really good guy. I like him a lot. He is a genuinely good person, right? I'm worried for him because the sport that he plays in the position, and I don't care how much they protect him, like with the flags and all that, you still got to take that hit. And I just hope to God, they say he's taking ninjutsu to
learn how to fall.
To practice how not to fall and all that. But hey, man, I just really hope that that he doesn't receive more, because I do know from, as you mentioned, the movie Concussion, I sat with Dr. Bennett Malu for hours with my brother-in-law in those meetings. There's a lot of evidence of repeated, they called them subconcussive blows. So that means it's getting your head hit without causing the concussion. Your brain sits in your skull with liquid around it. And it's like if you take a jar and put an orange in it and fill it up with water and then shake it, you'll see the orange go boom, 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 boom. That's what happens to your brain when it's in your skull getting hit. And you think about football, you're hitting every single play. Every single play. And in football, you've been doing it since you were freaking 6.
Yep.
Right? So it's 30 years, 20 years, repeatedly. That's what happens. So that's what causes the CTE. I don't care what anybody says. I know that. And I just feel like that doctor did a disservice to even say that. Oh, well, there's no medical evidence. Stop it. You know what I mean? Just stop it. Because you know what it's doing. And I just hope to God that he's able to play minus the concussions. That's all.
And I agree. I'm a Jet fan, and so I don't root for the Dolphins. But at the same time, I don't want to see this kid have a shortened lifespan, or be 35 and not remember who he is, or not be able to function with his young children. I thought that again, not being a Miami fan, maybe it was easy for me to pick on them last year, but I thought they did him a complete disservice. They put him in game after game, and they basically we all know he got concussed. They brought him back into the game. And I know they did an investigation, and I know that there was some stuff that came out, but they didn't get punished nearly enough, because you're messing with someone's livelihood.
It wasn't.
It was disgusting how. But they said they were investigating, quote unquote,
no,
and nothing really.
They do that for the press. They do that. That's for the people. That's why Draymond is suspended. That's for the audience. They don't want people to think that, we just allow people to do this. That's all it is. That investigation was a sham. He got up, walked 3 steps, and dropped.
Fell, and they blamed it. They said it was his
Talk
back.
about, oh, my neck and my back.
Yep.
Dude, your neck and your back? Really?
The way Miami handled that was absolutely appalling and disgusting. And that's not because I'm not a Miami fan. That's not me and a Jet fan. It's legitimate. If it was my team, I'd actually question my fandom if it was my team. That's how. But
part of it also is like the player, right? Where the player,
you got to protect the player from himself, though. You got to protect him from himself because, of course, he's going to want to go back.
That's true. That's true. But I think they've done a good job now with having the league spotters because because it's possible to pass. He passed his initial whatever concussion test he had. And he said he didn't get concussed. And it's like, oh, my back. And it's like, okay, well, you and I want to play. It's like, okay, cool, go back in. And looking back at it, you go, all right, well, fuck, he was obviously concussed. And he passed the rudimentary test he needed to pass. But sometimes the symptoms don't show up right away. And, it's not great. And to Caleb's point, it seems like they're kind of cherry-picking their info in the sense that, the quarterback doesn't get hit every play. So they were like, say that's like the offensive lineman every play. That's the repeated mini concussions kind of thing. And I'm learning how to fall, but I don't know if you remember his second concussion. You can fucking learn how to fall all you want. That 350-pound lineman whipped him to the ground.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like that's not learning how to fall. Then the other one was, it was kind of innocuous. He just kind of got whatever, and he just he got his legs clipped and he hit the back of his head on the thing.
That's right.
I've got concussed that way. You can learn how to fall all you want. It doesn't matter if you're not prepared for it.
Yep. 100%. I agree with that 1,000%.
And I hope he's okay. And I'm not just because he's on my dynasty team. But honestly, like my brother had to retire from hockey because of concussions at like 31, and he's doing all right. But like you see what happens with a lot of the football players now. Like
your brother was a pro hockey player.
Like yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Where did he play?
Oh, now you want to be friends with my brother?
Yeah, well, we think we could get him out instead of Matt.
He was drafted by the Atlanta Thrashers when they were a team. So he played in the American Hockey League. He won the Calder Cup in Chicago. He played in the East Coast League. He played in Europe, in Scotland, and in Italy.
Oh, very cool. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
Look at Matt Hamilton. You're an onion. We just peel off another layer each day.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Nigel,
the Matt Hamilton onion. The onion no one wants to peel.
There you go. Nigel, what's your take on everything with this?
Listen, there's a couple key words that came to mind, but first I want to tell you, do you know who practices how to fall? Stunt people.
Yeah.
In a controlled environment.
Yes, sir.
That's who knows how to fall. This is bull hooey, man. I've never even said that word before. This is hot garbage. Yeah, because you can't practice how to fall in the NFL, in any professional sport that has contact in it. You know what? I'm gonna ask you another question. You know when the game is the most exciting, especially in the NFL, when the four of us are having a couple beers, eating some wings, and we're like, oh, because something happened and we're excited. You know what that thing likely was? If it wasn't a fantastic catch, then that means somebody got smoked. That's what that means. And we're excited to see that. I'm not saying that's what we want to see. I'm just saying that happens so spontaneously. It just happens so fast that there's no way I feel a doctor has a right to say, well, we can control it, and there's a very unlikely chance of this happening again. That is wild to me. I have been concussed for sure when I was playing football, and your brain, your whole head, it does a shake thing. Like, when you're like, when you hear a truck's air brakes go off and it's like, and it sounds like that. That's what happened in my head. I got destroyed. Earhole, they call it. As a receiver, there was an interception, which is the worst time to take a hit as an offensive player. It's fair game, the worst because we don't know how to tackle. I'm going to tell you the truth. We don't know how to tackle. So when the ball gets turned over like that, and then the defense just sees red all the time, now they have the ball. Yeah. They know how to do that. So then they'll earhole us because we don't have our heads on the swivel. The other thing I want to say is that Matt mentioned a word earlier in the pod, and he mentioned narrative. That's what this is. This is a narrative, to Caleb's point as well, that they're kind of driving because this is what they have to say. This is what the doctors have to say. This is what the NFL wants you to believe. Tua, my guy, please retire. I'm just going to say it flat out. Just retire. For your health, for your safety, for your family, for your future. There's got to be other jobs that you can do. It sucks, man. It sucks. And I really hate to be the guy to say that. But, dude, watching that hit, that second one, again, Caleb recapped it. When you got up and you could barely take 3 steps and your body, you folded. You just folded. And that wasn't even with your own power. That was
the first one. The second one was the one where his arms were.
Yeah, sorry, yes. I'm sorry, you're right. So my point is like the fans saw this. We saw it and we were upset by it. I don't want to see that. And if you get another one, if Tua gets another one, I am telling him it's going to be the worst one. And it's going to be the one that you might not be able to come back from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If he gets one more, I think it's lights out. See ya. Adios career.
I think he would quit too. I think at that point, yeah, I think he would. You know, there was an NFL player a long time ago who I really liked. He was a little guy, really super fast and good. His name was Percy Harvin. He retired.
He was a Jet for a minute.
He got blasted so many times. It was like he
had migraine issues. Besides, he already had neurological issues from his migraine.
There it is. So. It's not worth it. And they have to let it. I feel bad because I know he wants it, but I agree with Nigel.
Yeah, of course he wants it, man.
I would say, nah, man.
It's a hard thing to give him the advice on, knowing that he's probably been playing this sport for 5 years.
That's all he knows.
Since he was 5 years. Yeah, and his ultimate goal was to get to where he's at now, and he just got there. Last year was his first, really would have been his first full year as a competitor in the NFL
with a team that can do something.
Yes,
Miami, look out.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, you know what? All prayers go to him. I do want to say, and I won't take credit for it because I was watching First Take this morning, and Stephen A. Smith had said that this league's going to be worth, I think they said roughly $30 billion a year by 2027. They need to use that money to maybe build better. You know what? There's enough proof that the grass fields are better than these turf fields. And that grass actually limits the amount of injuries and concussions that these players are getting. And he himself said that if you're making $30 billion in a year, you can afford to take some of that money and invest in the right type of fields for these players to keep them on the field, to keep them healthy. And also, forget about keeping them on the field and keeping them healthy for what they're going to do 20 years from now, so that they're not walking around with early dementia, stuff like that, at the age of 50. After they retire, let's also take care of these guys so they have a future after the league as well. So shout out to Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. That was his take on it. I thought it was worth mentioning as well. So
shout out Stephen A. That's my man.
I saw you go after him and Swagoo. I think it was him and Swagoo over the Cowboys during the season.
So I always troll them because I actually talk to them. Like Stephen A. is my man. Like I be texting them, like we talk. And then Swagoo, I love him. So he and I go back and forth on IG. So I'm always trolling them.
I'll tell you, God bless Stephen A. Smith. Whenever our Knicks are playing good, Stephen A. Smith is so giddy on First Take. You should have saw him this morning talking about Jalen Brunson. He couldn't even contain his smile. So God bless him.
Stephen A. is a Hall of Fame Cowboys troller.
Oh, for sure.
1,000%.
He's
greatest of all time.
He'd be the grand marshal in the Cowboy hater parade.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
All right, so we got Joe Mixon facing misdemeanor charges. We spoke about it a little
what?
Bit. It's for the aggravated road rage incident. So the aggravated menacing, that the road rage incident, looks like he's pleading not guilty.
What did he do?
He got into a road rage incident with someone. I think it was towards the end of the season, I believe. But
what did he do? Like, did he flip them off? Did he pull a gun? Did he kick their car? Like what?
From what I understand, he actually pulled over and threatened them to get out of the car. From what I understood, and the police got involved.
I mean,
I don't have the full story in front of me, but I really only bring it up because we brought up yesterday whether or not he should take a pay cut. Does this and so I brought this up to ask this: does this give Cincinnati any leverage into getting him to take that pay cut?
They have leverage. So I'll just jump in first. Sorry, guys, but they have leverage because they're an NFL team. They can just tell you, and if you don't like it, cut.
Well, is it worth? Do they want to cut him though? They want to let him become a free agent?
No.
Yeah.
But there's running backs are a dime a dozen now. So
True.
It's not like their offense goes to shit. if they lose him. He's not. What's the wide receiver that they got? The
Chase?
real good.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he's not Lamar Chase. I bet you Burrow's not gonna be like, oh no, you can't get rid of Mixon. No, and here's the truth. People forget about this. Mixon, when he was a rookie, but before he was a rookie, when he got drafted, right before the Bengals drafted him,
I know where you're going.
he knocked out a young white girl in a fast food place.
On camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on
Shouldn't laugh at
camera.
that.
So if he's gonna knock a lady out, what do you think he's gonna do if you cut him off in traffic?
Also, I'll stop you there only because what this offense is that he allegedly pulled a gun out.
There was a gun
pointed
involved
at the woman.
I didn't know there was a gun involved. All right, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, during the traffic encounter that you're talking about. So he pulled a gun out from a woman. Yeah, just to your point, Caleb. Yeah. So sorry.
Hey man, if you can knock a lady out, you definitely can pull a gun. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did, but all I'm saying is he's mixing. He has anger issues to say the least, and he's a football player. What the hell you expect? Listen, that's one of the things I do not like. Like fighters, football players, people that they get paid to be aggressive. Then we get mad when they're aggressive.
Yeah.
It's like you buy a Rottweiler and mad when the dog bites somebody. It's like it's a Rottweiler. It's not a damn poodle. You didn't get you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, it's, you don't have to be uncontrollable, but it doesn't strike me as something out of the ordinary when a football player who's been paid to be aggressive their entire life gets aggressive.
And let me tell you something. You don't have to be a football player to catch crazy road rage. Like that's one of my downfalls is my road rage.
Gene, exactly. You have road rage. Imagine if you were trained to be angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm agreeing with. That's what I'm saying. So like, if I was a trained killer, man, could you imagine my road rage I would have been locked up already.
Whoa.
Like at least I can manage it to an extent.
The bottom feed says he pointed a gun at a woman.
Yeah, that's what I told you.
That's what Nigel just said.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right, man. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I didn't know the gun was involved. I thought he got out. It was like,
on a woman.
Yeah.
On a woman, you pull a gun on a woman.
To be fair,
he must have been big. He must have been big.
He's like, to be fair, I've done that too.
no,
he must work out.
To be fair, Wednesday is my road rage day. No, to be fair, listen, we've all gotten to road rage, right? And then you ever get to then you're freaked out, you're mad, you're spitting mad, you finally get up to the red light, and it's a 90-year-old woman, and now you feel bad. Like he might not have known who was driving the car when he got. And listen, it doesn't condone it. You still can't pull a gun out because of road rage. I get it. I'm not condoning it, but he also might not have known. For all he knew, it was some 6'5" guy that was 330 pounds.
He was standing outside the window asking him to get out of the car.
I got it.
So,
yeah.
So
I'm saying
through windows.
It could have been tinted windows. It could have been tinted windows. You don't know. He's pleading not guilty for a reason. So
yeah, he has to. It'll get tossed up, but I think he'll settle. He'll settle for something. I think the Bengals will probably cut him, especially if he doesn't take a pay cut because he's
not that good anymore either.
No,
we said that yesterday. He had 800 yards yesterday in a 17-game season. That doesn't cut it. I'm sorry.
Sam J. Pirine was really good whenever Mixon couldn't go.
Yeah, he's in Denver though.
Running backs, you can get running backs, man. Second round, third round.
I think they can get that. They can get that. They should get that kid from Texas. Bijou Robinson. That's what I've been saying. So, he would make that offense dynamic. It's already good. Can you imagine with a top flight running back?
I like him in the Cowboys.
No, Cowboys already got. They don't. Cowboys are garbage. All right. Raiders impressed with quarterback Hendon Hooker. So how do you guys feel about this? The guy is like, I feel. How old is he? 43 years old. He's the oldest. He's one of these old quarterbacks. I think he's 25. This is a reach at 7. I kind of think. Do we think that's a second round spot right there, where the Raiders might look into him to bring him over there in the second round? I mean, Garoppolo is not going to be there for long. He's not. Garoppolo's not old. I mean, not young either. But he also might be another placeholder for another rookie quarterback. If you're Garoppolo, you feel a little disrespected. I just signed a contract there, and you're going to go out and you're going to get another quarterback. Or if you're Oakland, are you saying let's invest into Garoppolo and get him some weapons?
I don't think Jimmy should be.
Did I say Oakland? My bad.
Yeah, he knows where he's at. He signed his deal is $21 million. That's half of what Danny Dimes is getting. So he knows where he's at, and it's only a 3-year deal. So he's a placeholder. and he's a fine quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. I don't think anyone's stoked if they have Jimmy G. And I think Vegas needs to, drafting a quarterback's probably a good idea if you can find one that you like, because Jimmy's contract is only 3 years, and the way NFL contracts work, it might even be 1 year. Like, it could be adios muchacho. So if you're Vegas, that's a smart move. If that's the guy you like.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And is there enough to like? Again, he's old. He's an old quarterback coming out of college. He's already 25. He's not going to be able to play next year because of the ACL injury he had back in November. So he's already going to miss another year, which is going to put him at almost 27 years old as a rookie, as like a legitimate rookie. Is this a smart move by the Raiders picking him, even if it is the second round?
Yes. Yes. Vegas needs this. Vegas is coming off of last season was I would say deplorable based on what they had the season before, right? Like they were fired up, and people were fired up to see the Raiders back again. I know I sound like that guy who's just like, oh, I love to win, but like there's certain teams that need to be there. They went through the Chucky phase and then they ousted him and they had to clean up the front office and all that other stuff, front of the house. But I mean, they need to draft somebody that's going to bring just a little bit more heat and pressure in that division and make sure that team is worthy of bringing a little static, a little chaos again. Because right now, the only chaos they have is on the field or in the clubhouse, and that's it. But they have assets. They're only like a couple positions away from really lighting things up. They really are. They're so close. And I think whether this guy's 25 or not, that doesn't matter to me. I think he can still learn. I think he'll learn quickly. He's got a little bit more of a maturity. Sure, man, whatever. He's like a fine wine. He's going to age. It's fine. But I think they need something like that.
What do you think, Caleb?
No, I agree. I was surprised when they said Hendon because I was feeling more like Matt, like, well, you just signed Jimmy G and all of that. But, I think it's smart because, one, Jimmy G knows the system, you know what I mean, from New England. So that's why he's a great fit for them there, since McDaniels is going to be running Belichick's offense essentially. And I think Hendon would be great because he's a little bit more mobile. He could throw, he's younger, and he can learn underneath Jimmy G and then take over if that's what they really want to do. I think it's good, again, because the NFL, it's changed. You have to have a quarterback that's mobile now. Mm-hmm. The stay in the pocket planet quarterback is becoming a thing of the past. So I think getting somebody in who can learn the system over a year, like Nigel said, he's injured. So he'll have a whole nother year that he basically has to wait, which is great because just because he's not playing doesn't mean he's not learning, seeing. And just because he's not playing doesn't mean he's not participating in a walkthrough practice where he's seeing or throwing the ball and receivers running routes and all of that. So there's a lot he can do without actually playing. So I think it's a smart move. And they're also going after a quarterback that nobody else is even mentioning. Yeah. Nobody's talking about him. So that means there won't be no problem getting him. So they don't have to break the bank, right? So I think it's a good thing. It was like the best thing that ever happened was when the Patriots picked up a guy named Tom Brady as the last pick. Which is who close your eyes, the last guy, pick him. And then look what happened. So you just never know who you're drafting and the type of person that he is. So it can't hurt him. You know what I mean? So let's see what happens. I'm not a Raiders fan anyway. Two of my best friends are, so I like trolling them about the Raiders. But in all seriousness, I think it's smart, what's the worst that can happen? He fails. You know what I mean?
It's a lot easier to recover from a second round quarterback than a first round quarterback on a failure, right? So
absolutely,
there's that. They're going to save themselves a little bit of money, even with the rookie wage scale. You still save a little bit of money with that second round pick. Number one, number two. Like you said before, no pressure to actually even think about even putting him in that first year because he's going to be recovering from ACL injury. Maybe at the end of the year, you want to put him in on a blowout game. You want to put him in for a half or just to see how we get him some like live action, put him in front of some live bullets. Then you can maybe do that. But it's another. Here's why I do feel bad for it. Jimmy G, because this kid came out, had all the talent in the world, and every stop he's gone to has been as a placeholder. He's never had the chance to really have his own team. And I feel like he's had the talent level to at least have his own team at a time. And it seems like just when you thought maybe he might be getting that in Oakland, there's already talk about them drafting his replacement already. Vegas. He hasn't even thrown a pass.
Vegas. It's still Vegas.
Vegas. My bad, Vegas. I still feel like it's Oakland.
Well, he was given
a chance to San Fran.
A chance to San Fran. He was traded to be the starter. He wasn't a placeholder.
Yep.
You know what though? As soon as he got hurt, though, they moved on quick and they drafted somebody pretty.
They had to, man. They were dead to rights, dude. Like that organization. Like it wasn't for Brody. No, what's his
Purdy.
Thank you.
Well, it was also for Lance too.
Yeah. Sorry, but what I'm saying is like if it wasn't for Purdy at the very end of this narrative, at the very end of this story, I mean that franchise, it was a wrap for them. You know what I mean? So, but he was handed the team. It was going to be something. He was doing all right, but unfortunately, boom, injury got him.
Yeah. It seems like it's followed around his career too. So there is that. I get it. He's been plagued his whole career.
But he's made a cajillion dollars.
He has made.
He's made a lot of money, and he will continue to make money. I'm not worried about Jimmy G. Jimmy G is fine. Jimmy G got a free pass to the Bunny Ranch in Vegas, so at any time he's just feeling lonely, he could just go and enjoy himself. Yeah. He's one of those quarterbacks that women just love. They think he's so handsome. He got a Subway commercial, and that's what they say in the commercial. But he's so handsome. I mean, Jesus. So it's like I don't feel bad for Jimmy G.
He'll have a career. He'll have a career doing something after his playing career, whether it be on TV, modeling.
Without question.
He's a pretty son of a bitch.
Stephen A calls him porn star Jimmy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Never feel bad for anyone making $21 million a year.
I don't.
And don't have to spend it.
Yeah, good point. All right. Last NFL topic for today. Colorado Buffaloes in a 27-year drought sell out season tickets under Deion Sanders. Do we expect Deion Sanders to turn that program around, Caleb?
I expect him to inject new energy to where the program could turn itself around. But it's too much to put on one man that like the head coach, like he's going to do that. I love prime time. I love Deion. I always have. But I have to see if he has that ability as a coach to do that, right? That's very rare. That's Saban stuff. That is what's my man now that passed away at Penn State? They got in trouble at the end. Why am I blanking? The legend.
Paterno.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Joe Pop.
Yeah, Joe Pop. Same thing with Carroll at USC. Like there's people, coaches that create an environment, a world where it's their way or the highway, and they always deliver. So if Deion can be that, absolutely. But what I do know, their stock as far as recruits shoots up 300% because those kids' dad and uncles and older cousins grew up telling those kids about prime time. So to even just be around him, they'll be like, oh, because there's something about coolness, not only being good and being the best, but having a mouthpiece about it, showboating, being fly. Like kids like that. You know what I mean? So Deion has all of that. So they'll be able to compete with any other team when it comes to recruits because nobody has prime time where he can actually say, watch my highlight tape. Listen to me. That's what I was doing. I'll show you how to play cornerback. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be cool. But his coaching thing, we have to see how great he is as a coach. I know he did great for his team at the HBCU and all of that. But now you're moving up as far as the rankings and competition levels, and you gotta let's see where it is. So I'm looking forward to it.
What about you, Nige?
Same. I really share the exact same sentiments, man. And I think Caleb, you talk the talk there, man. It's about like how can he coach? But the way that you said the way you said the expectations, the way that you like describe that, that's huge, man. Just to see how he coaches, because we all know that the vibe is going to be nice. Of course, it's going to be nice. I mean, he scooped up everybody that was available in the portal. This transfer portal is absolutely bananas, by the way. It is nuts to think that we have that now, but
it's like free agency for college.
Yeah, it's so crazy, but like, and it's exciting. But I mean, he scooped everybody that he could up. The talent is going to go through the roof. That's going to be expected, but it's going to be a thing where it's just cool by proxy, man, cool by association, because Caleb mentioned again, you got family members now that are like, oh yeah, well, my kid, you know, Dimitri, well, you know that he's over there playing and getting coached by Deion. And that aunt is like far removed. Like, but people want to know, people want to associate, right? So it's a different thing being a coach. We all know what you did as a player on the field. We all loved it. It was a different time, and it was a fantastic time. But now the college game has changed, and that's bumping up to, again, the rankings and the level of competition. Shout out to HBCUs. But now, like in this different level, this different conference and stuff, it's who knows? I root for him. I hope he crushes.
You know, if you would have asked me before he ever set foot on the field as a coach, if you would ask me back from his NFL Network days as a commentator, and if you would ask me even as a player, would he be a good coach? I probably wouldn't have thought so because of his braggadocious kind of style. It just didn't seem like that translates into coaching, right? But I'll tell you what, he's proven me wrong. And I get we're saying the competition is not the same, and from HBCU to the regular NCAA. With what is Colorado? What conference are they in? They're not in the Pac, right? What conference are they in?
Wait a minute, I don't know.
Are they in the Big Ten? We'll find Patty Puddles. Find out what conference the football conference they're in. But obviously the competition stiffens. But listen, he's proved in these other spots that he's been at that he's been able to win as a coach. We want to talk about the level. Maybe the levels of competition is not the same. But guess what? He's still playing against his own, like he can field the team that he fields against equal competition. Now, it might not be the same level as NCAA competition, but it's still equal competition in the division he's in. Yeah. So now he's in another playing field where he's going to get more, maybe different types of players that can be more, be a higher competition. And he'll go against them as well, same as he did before. So again, the competition goes higher, but he also can field a more competitive team as well. So I'm rooting for him because listen, I remember the days when Colorado used to be really exciting to watch back when they would, going up against Notre Dame and Raheem Ismail and when they beat Notre Dame and Raheem Ismail in the national championship game. What was that? Late 80s, early 90s, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I remember those games when the Colorado Buffaloes were one of the teams to beat. So I'm looking forward to what he can do here. I think it's a great chance for him to really prove himself as a head coach. And really help build the careers of some of these young players that are trying to be what he was when he was in the league. So I'm all for it, man. I'd love to see him be able to really excel there. Pat still didn't get his thing. We're going to go on to another topic, but Pat, if you can pop that up, let me know because I'm just curious for my own knowledge. So we'll go back to some of the NBA news. Actually, we're not going to do the headlines yet. Let's actually just talk about the debatable topic. Which team in the Western Conference do we have in trouble? Which team in the Western Conference is in trouble? Nigel, let's start with you.
Sorry, like NBA wise?
NBA wise.
Oh my gosh, in the Western Conference, that's in trouble. Just in general, eh? Oh boy.
Well, in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs. Yeah. I think like
rhymes with Molden Schmate Warriors.
I still have faith. I still have faith in them, but I feel like I'm really interested. I'm gonna take this stance. The Phoenix Suns. That's what I think. That's what I'm going to take this stance because the way that the Clippers are playing and the way that the Suns are playing, that's a very broad statement. So the Clippers are just like, they're being really aggressive right now. And everybody is they know what they're up against because as soon as Durant went over there, this is not new information. As soon as Durant went over to Phoenix, everybody just shot them right up. The numbers were like, they are contenders in the West. The Clippers now, fast forward to the playoffs, the Clippers want no part of being, so Buffalo's in the Pac-12. Yeah. So,
exciting.
Yeah, the U.S. conference, your conferences shift like, as many times as the sun like rises. It's crazy.
It is.
You guys have all kinds of teams changing. But anyways, so I just think that the Clippers are really vicious right now. And I think that, again, because we talked about this many times over, that Phoenix is still trying to find their footing, man. They're still trying to feel out each other on the court. And I think their time is running out. I know the series is only at 1-1, but time is running out, man. And the Clippers are not messing around right now, and they're having a lot of fun, and they're mean mugging, and they're doing some things that are really disrupting what Phoenix has or what Phoenix was supposed to have. Who knows what kind of Chris Paul we're going to get next when they play tonight, I think, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Who knows what kind of Chris Paul we're going to get, man, because you saw him. Sometimes he looks like a grumpy McGrumperton. Sometimes he gets so frustrated so fast. So I think I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm going to say that the Phoenix Suns are the team in the West that might be in trouble.
You know what? I was gonna save my pick for after, but I just because I thought I was the only one that was gonna have this team, I was gonna save it. But being that Nigel actually said my team, I agree. The Suns, and the reason why, and again, listen, it's easy to pick a 7 seed and an 8 seed. I'm not gonna do that. The reason why I think it's the Suns is because of pretty much what you kind of said. They just don't match up good. In most first round series, you could put the Suns up against a lot of teams. They need to be up 2-0 right now and nothing to worry about. They just don't match up well against the Clippers. The Clippers are super deep. Listen, at any point in those games, the top two players in the whole game are both going to be on the Suns, and that's going to be Durant and that's going to be Booker. They're probably the top 2 draft picks if you were to redraft those two teams, to play for those two teams. But after those two, it's a tremendous drop off. You're talking about old man Chris Paul, who doesn't do Chris Paul things like he used to do Chris Paul things. He's still a solid guy there off the bench and whatnot, and in the locker room. But there's just a huge drop off. Ayton is a big drop off from them. He's a stud in the middle, but he's still not a star. But Kawhi is a star, and after Kawhi, you just have a bunch of really good, solid role players. Westbrook is better than a role player. I get it, but he can be feast and famine at times. Feast and famine at times. But just if you look at that bench is
most of the time,
a lot of the time maybe that bench is so deep that I think they just match up really well with the Suns, who don't have a bench. Their bench is very, very shallow. So yeah, I got the Suns too, because I do think they lose one game in LA. I'll tell you what, I think they're going to alternate wins and losses. I think LA can actually pull this out in 6 games. They're going to steal another one in Phoenix, I think, and win this in 6 games. But all right, let's go around. Caleb, who do you have as the team that's most trouble in the West?
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious and the easiest answer, and that's Minnesota, because they're not going to win a single game and they're going to get swept. So they are in the most trouble. Phoenix has a shot. If Phoenix breaks even with the Clippers, you're going back to Phoenix 2-2, right? That's a completely different thing, right? So I'm going to take the easy route and say Minnesota, because it's obvious. They're going home. There's no shot in hell. You know what I mean? So there's that. Matt mentioned the how'd you say it, Matt? I don't want to mess it up the way that you phrased it. Go ahead. The what?
Goldschmidt Warriors. It sounds like
that's Matt's fancy word of the day right there. That's
right. Those guys, I really, if I was to say any team outside of Minnesota, they're in trouble, because you got a bunch of young kids that are confident. That changes everything.
No Draymond next game.
And no Draymond. Listen, that is a heavy load. But they can do it because they have enough players that if they were to make their shots, they're good. And I'm not talking about Steph and Clay. They're going to do what they do. I'm talking about Jordan Poole. I'm talking about Andrew Wiggins, your fellow Canadian. All of that. Like, those guys step up. Then it's something. And they also got to step up on the defensive side. You need Gary Payton the second and Wiggins to play that high-level defense to slow these young dudes down. They got to shut Fox down. You either got to shut Fox down or let Fox go off, but stop everybody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Make the other guys beat you. But so it's going to be one of the two. But I think those guys are in trouble outside of Minnesota, more so than Phoenix, even though I agree that Phoenix is in trouble too. But they got to punch a shot. And I think they can still do it. But the Warriors,
And we kind of know Matt. So before we get Matt's opinion on why he's picking Golden State, let me tell you why I'm not worried about Golden State. I think Golden State could be down 3-0, and I still wouldn't have them in that spot. I think that's a series where they could rip off. Listen, They're playing against a young
this team.
Hold
you
on,
think they could go 3-0 to the Kings?
I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm saying if there's a team that I trust to be down 0-3 in all the playoffs, they're the team that I feel most confident would be able to come back from an 0-3 deficit. And the reason why is they're playing. Not saying they will. I'm saying they're the team that I trust the most to be able to do it.
That's big, Gene. That's
but here's why I say it. I'm not saying they would do it. I'm saying if there's a team in the playoffs that could do it, it would be them.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is this: is you're playing against a young team that's never been here before. You know what? Right. You're up 3-0. You blow a game. All right. We're up 3-1. No big deal. We're gonna go back. We're gonna win the next game. They lose that game 6, and now it's or game 5, and now it's 3-2. Those young kids, their stomachs are gonna tighten a little bit. I happened to the Yankees against the Red Sox in 2004, man. You know, we lost game 4, and we're like, we're up 3-1, the gentleman's sweep. And then they won game 5, and you're like, oh, all right, wait, all right, let's win now. All right, now fun's over. Let's get the series over with. That I could see. Listen, the Warriors are such veterans, and the Kings are so new at this. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings were up 3-0 that you could see them get the gentleman's what would look like a gentleman's sweep. And then game 5 comes around, and then they actually maybe blow the doors off of them in game 5. And now you got the Sacramento's stomach starting to tighten, right? The nerves are going to start to set in, and it becomes more serious. And who's not nervous anymore? Golden State Warriors, who probably weren't nervous to begin with because they're veterans. They've been battle tested before. They've been down 3-1 before. They've also been up 3-1 before and not work out. But they've been down 3-1 before and be able to flip it. I just feel like the where those two teams, they're almost on the exact opposite of a spectrum. One's the old grizzled veterans, the one is the young team that's never been here before, the new guard. Are they ready to overtake it? Even if they're up 3-0, I still feel like Sacramento's still got to really kind of play their A game those next games until they finally close them out. So I wouldn't, as a Warriors aren't my number one team. It's obviously the Knicks, but Warriors are like my second team. I wouldn't be worried for them until it's like they're down 10 in the fourth quarter of a deciding game. That's where the nerves would set in for me. I have faith in them up until pretty much that point. So until the third quarter of a game, a series winning game. So that's my take on those. Now, Matt, give me you obviously think it's going to be Golden State. You tell me why you think Golden State's in trouble.
Well, that was a nice presentation, Gene. But the Golden State Warriors are in trouble because they have no Draymond. If they go down 0-3, and this is why I think not only because I picked Sacramento, but I think it's a perfect ending to a season that started with Draymond absolutely cold-cocking a teammate.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect end to that season where it's like it started off on a brutal note. The season was weird. And Andrew Wiggins had to take off for some not great stuff. They couldn't win on the road. Clay got his game back. He looks pretty good, but I feel like it's a fitting end for this season for the Golden State Warriors. So I'm sticking with my pick. I mean, Caleb's right. It's the T-Wolves is the answer who's in trouble because they're toast. But Golden State, man, I'd be worried. No Draymond, he's a lunatic and a psychopath, but he's a good basketball player. He can't shoot for shit, but he does a lot of things really well, and they're going to miss that his defensive ability and the way he can move the ball. And it's on Golden State. We'll see what happens next year. Are they playing tonight?
I'm pretty sure it's tonight. Let me double check it. I just had
it's tonight.
Yeah,
it is tonight, right?
But let's be clear though. I know
we're gonna have a little chat tomorrow when the Kings win that game.
Again, I'm still not worried until they're down 3-0 and they're down by 10 points in the fourth quarter. I'm still not nervous until that point. Okay. Once that point happens, you give me a call and I'll tell you. I'll admit that I'm nervous. Until then, though, I think there's a puncher's chance there. But Nigel, what were you about to say? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say real quick. Let's be clear about Draymond's position, though, right? Like we know he's not a great shooter. That's fact.
Yeah.
But what's going to be missing is just the energy and he's like the new age Rodman, right? Like we know that. So it's just now how do the Warriors adjust? You're not wrong, Maddie. I think you're 100% right. It's a change. It's a shift in energy. It's a big shift for the game plan. I get that. But we all know that the Warriors have played and have won without him before in this kind of situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this could be a Jordan Poole game where he comes out and scores 39.
Right. But who knows, man? I'm not taking anything away from your statement. I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I'm just saying that, like, we all know what Draymond is, so we're gonna find out what the deal is. You guys are welcome.
All right. Well, let's talk this Adam Silver NBA in-season tournament featuring new uniforms, finals played in neutral sites. I think it's the Final Four we played in neutral site. Do we like this idea, or is this just gimmicky? Caleb, what's your take on this whole in-season tournament?
I actually like the in-season tournament. I actually do. I like it because it's games that matter and it's one and done. So it gives you a little bit of the March Madness feel. Like actually, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not one and done because you could lose and then play for.
I think it's around. I was saying there's a round robin series.
But I still like it. So I'm not one of those people that don't like it. I do. The jerseys, uniforms, I don't care. I like.
That's not making money.
Stuff. Yeah, it's cool. Like I'm not mad at that. Now, what I am upset about is the neutral site stuff. It's like, no, the regular season has to mean something. So if I win these things, I should be able to play. I should have the advantage. That's the whole point. Outside of that, what's the point of even playing? Just play to get in and then figure it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I think you hurt the importance of the regular season that already don't have that much importance anyway, outside of just getting into the tournament. You know what I mean? So if you take away the home field or home court advantage in those situations by going to neutral sites or the Final Four, it's like, now I understand why they would do it, because it's going to another location, giving another location this particular game with these players where they would not have them. So it's a money grab. I understand that. But I'm talking about it does a disservice to the actual integrity of the regular season game and why it's important to win your division and your conference. So that's all I would say about that. But everything else, I could care less about the jerseys. I stopped wearing jerseys. You know what I mean? I once I crossed 43, I was like, all right, no more jerseys for me. Actually, when Jay-Z said,
I'm wearing a jersey. Thanks, man. I'm wearing a jersey. I don't do the basketball jerseys. I don't have the arms for the basketball ones.
But Nigel is more a sports guy. He has a different hat every day. You see, I only wore one hat in this whole time. Like, I'm not big on it like that. So with Nigel, I get it, because Nigel will buy the jersey and never freaking wear it. He'll get it signed. It'll be in a glass case on his wall. He's trying to be that kind of guy. That's true. Nah. So I say all that to say I don't care about the jerseys. I like to see new stuff. It's cool. I don't mind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the tournament playing, I love it. Like I really like that.
So I think the reason, and Adam Silver touched on it a little bit, that it's because a lot of their players are now coming from Europe. I think he said like a third of the league is European players, and they're used to that with the whole. That's how the soccer leagues do it out there. Nigel, is that it works well for them? Do you think this will be working well with in the US?
No, I'm out. So here's the deal. It's like the reason why it works in Europe is because you have first of all, you have so many different leagues and so many different teams. That's the first part. Yep. The second part to that is that we want to see the best of the best from each league, which also ends up being from each country, play each other for the ultimate trophy.
Yep.
There's so many other factors that make those tournaments during the soccer season matter, because not only now are you playing for your league dominance, for your league trophy, but now you're trying to tell me that once we do that, we get a chance to play somebody in the UK or in Spain or whatever league, La Liga or Bundesliga or whatever it is, to be the best, and we get to beat them. Those are huge bragging rights in Europe. Yeah. Now we're talking about an in-tournament in the US among the NBA teams with different jerseys. No, man, it's not the same feeling. I understand the angle that he's trying to come at it with, but for me, it doesn't have the same gravitas. It just makes the players work even more. We're having a hard time dealing with load management, let alone try and have a tournament. Are you crazy? Like, the load management thing was new to us, and I say us when I mean Toronto, because when we had Kawhi, that's how the term got coined for us. For us, we didn't understand why Kawhi wasn't playing. Then we understood why, and then all of a sudden you heard that term a lot more throughout the league. We can't even deal with that fans are livid when they're buying. You know how much tickets are, man. You pay hundreds of dollars to go see your favorite player, and they're sitting on the bench in civilians, like civvies, man. And now you're trying to tell me that now we're all going to play in another in-season tournament during the regular season before the Larry will be. Get out of here. I'm out. I just don't see how it's going to make work. I will buy the hats though. I will buy.
I knew you would. I knew you would.
I will buy that. If the logos are sharp, I'm gonna buy the hats. But I'm not buying into the tournament, but I'll buy the hats.
Well, they didn't say they were changing logos, just changing uniforms. So the logos might be the same. We'll find out, I guess.
Well, they might do another spin on it. But like I said, it doesn't make sense to me from that perspective.
Matt, are you into it?
Yeah. I think Caleb brings up a good point about the neutral site thing, but I don't want to it's so easy to resist change and not like change. That's like instinctual for everybody. So
especially sports fans.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it yet, but let's see.
I'll tell you one of the reasons I don't like it is I feel like it minimizes. I feel like no matter what you're saying, it still minimizes a little bit of the regular postseason. Like there's 2 tournaments, and it's kind of like what Nigel said. When there's a reason why they do it in Europe, and it makes sense why they do it in Europe. They're not really doing it here in the same way. They're doing it that they're using the model of doing an in-season tournament, but not for the same kind of reasons they do it in Europe. So it loses a little bit. I do like the idea of the neutral site, and I don't know if they mentioned where the neutral sites would be, if they would just be in other NBA cities or they would be in other cities that don't typically get NBA games. I would love to see that. I would rather see it. Put it in a city that doesn't have an NBA team. We talked about expansion teams yesterday, right? Maybe put it in Seattle, put one in Vancouver, maybe Mexico City. Put them somewhere where, I mean, if you want to put it outside the country, that's fine. I wouldn't go into Europe with these games, but like Mexico City, maybe Puerto Rico, other places within the continental U.S. to an extent that could possibly support a franchise if we do decide to go expansion. And now you can test those markets out, see, okay, how would this city do with its own team? So I think it's really good for that, and I think it helps bring basketball to a city that doesn't have their own team at this point.
That's a great point, because also, like, I know that this is a different league, but the same premise is like the WNBA. They're coming to Toronto in mid-May, and I think it's sold out. Like quick. Like they had VIP code first, and then regular sales, and all this to say is that I'm supporting your idea of having an opportunity for people who are fans of the game that don't have a team or don't have access to get to a team, right? Yeah. And then you do that. Look what happens. So
they're saying the court might even look different. So like, what could they do different to the court? Like, I don't want to see like the old the MTV game that they used to play where they have like a 4-point shot midway through, like off to the left, halfway through the court. Like, I don't want to see stuff like that. I want it to be, if it's going to be basketball, let it be basketball. If it's going to count as wins and losses, let the court be the same. We don't need to change the court up for anything crazy. Again, the same thing with the jerseys. Do I like when they change up jerseys? And have each team where a team might have like 5 different jerseys, 6, 7 different jerseys. I don't. Give me my, and that's what it's all, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's a money grab. So I get it to an extent. It's about generating capital for the league, which helps pay the players. So I get it, but I'd much rather see, like, when my Knicks, I just want to see their blue and orange, their white and orange, and that's all I need to see. That's how I grew up watching it, and I guess like it makes me feel like an old man, but I'm into the traditionalness of it, which is also probably why I'm so kind of against the league a little bit. The in-season tournament. But listen, it's happening one way or the other, so we've got to get used to it, I guess, right? If we want to watch basketball, this is what it is. As much as I'm against it, I'll watch every game. So, I mean, they got me anyway. I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be watching every game anyway. So, all right, last topic on basketball. We touched on this all game. NBA suspends Draymond for game 3 over the Sabonis stomp. Sounds like a dance move, but here he is. So, yeah, I mean, so do we think that this plays a huge role in tonight's game, Caleb?
Absolutely. I mean,
can they win without him?
Ridiculous. Yeah, yes, but you can get hit by a bus too. So it's like, of course, you know what I mean? But it's not going to be easy. It's not. I bet you Steph Curry would rather have Draymond there than not. You know what I mean? So it's to me, I think it affects the outcome of the game. It's the same thing with the Super Bowl. That call, it's like they've been doing this all game, and now on the play where it really matters, you're gonna call holding. Really? Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, you changed the whole outcome of the game like that. And I think this is a major impact on that game. If the Warriors lose tonight and they're down 3-0, they're done. And they can literally say, well, I understand, but you could have just fined them $250,000. Find them $1 million. Draymond would rather give them $1 million than miss tonight's game. I guarantee it. You know what I mean? So it's this when you affect the outcome of history. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. I would have fined him $1 million. That's what I would have said. Like,
Again, and it wasn't a really vicious stomp. It was more like It was more like he could have maybe stepped over him and didn't, but he did.
If it wasn't Draymond, it wouldn't have been suspension.
No, I agree.
Right.
It might have been an ejection, but it wouldn't have been a suspension.
Yeah, they said that it's from past behavior, like he's a repeat offender, a habitual line stepper. Yeah.
Also, his behavior afterward, he was unhinged. Psychotic.
He was doing the whole Hogan to the crowd.
He's doing all that.
But see,
shit.
to me, I love
that's a showman.
That. Like,
it's a showman.
Like, it's not just that, but that's what you want. If I was there as a Sacramento fan and Draymond Green points at me and does this, and it's like, come on, I'm like, yeah. Right, I'm hyped. I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mad at him. We're trolling. That's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fan engagement. I'm not trying to throw no water bottle at him. He's not trying to hit me in the head with a brick. We're just talking mess. To me, I love that as a fan. Like, that's what you want. And you could be like, hey, y'all saw me on SportsCenter, right? That was me and Draymond. Like, now you're feeling good. You actually gonna think Draymond is your boy. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that helps. That's the whole point. So I'm not mad at that. But to Matt's point, he's correct that the NBA looked at that like as if, oh, look at him. He doesn't care. No remorse. It's like, stop it. You know what I mean? And I get the commissioner was there. So, there's that whole thing. But Adam Silver knows. Adam is one of the coolest heads of any league.
Have you ever met him in your
No,
walks of life?
I've never met him, but I've heard nothing but good things about him. And just me seeing his mannerisms and all that, he know what that is. Like,
I'm gonna say something. It's gonna come off as mean, and I don't, because he is a good boss of the league. Does he not remind you of Nosferatu a little bit?
Oh,
Does he not look like Nosferatu, right?
Nosferatu vibes.
He's definitely got Nosferatu vibes. But he does everything you hear. He is a great guy. He just looks like he's got to eat something. He's so skinny. Just eat something, guy. Right? He needs to spend time with an Italian.
He looks
grandma.
like he needs a steak.
He needs something. Some carbs.
Like his iron is low.
Definitely. He might be a vampire. He really might be a vampire. He needs to eat. So Nigel, is this an overreaction by the league then?
Yeah,
in your opinion?
I'm with everybody, but again, it's the hype. It's the hype machine, man. It's like, again, this is a David and Goliath thing, and not by the numbers, because the numbers are reversed, because Sacramento is the higher seed and Golden State is the lower seed. But in reality, Golden State is the Goliath and Sacramento is the David here. So I just feel like it's just the hype machine, and it's just again, past offenses, quote unquote, fine, whatever, we get it. Little too far for me, but it is what it is. So we just see how Golden State adjusts, and this could be the beginning and the end for Sacramento. This could be like Golden State might be real mad.
I'm telling you, even if they go down 3-0, we still have a shot. And I put one other question out for you guys, if everyone to answer. If they didn't suspend him, say it was just a fine, would there be a reaction from fans saying, "What are you doing to the league?" Or do you think people were expecting to be a suspension and would have been pissed if it wasn't?
No.
I believe so. Go ahead, Matt. You jive now.
Nah, I think this is one that was so it was so kind of on the line for me, where it was like, we speculated whether he was going to get suspended. I didn't think he was. I didn't
think so either. I thought
getting kicked out of the game was enough. But if he did, I was like, yeah, I get it. So, no, I don't think that there would have been, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it could have gone either way. I wasn't surprised. I was kind of excited because fuck Draymond, but Don messaged me after when the suspension came down. He's like, 1 game suspended. He's out of here. So he was
Dom might hate. He's like the same way we talk about Stephen A. Smith hating the Cowboys. I think Dom is that same guy for Draymond Green haters. Yeah. He hates Draymond Green.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't think he was going to suspend it either. I thought he'd kick him out of the game, fine him a ton of money. I thought that would have been it. But Nigel, the same thing to you. You would have been okay if there was no suspension.
Yeah, it would have been fine. I just thought it was going to be a fine and then peace because again, in my video analysis of it, it seemed like the aggressiveness was there, but the physicalness wasn't. Like he didn't really stomp on him or anything. Mm-hmm. It was just more of like you know what I mean? It
was more like a get off my leg kind of a thing.
Yeah, kind of thing, but also stopping himself short of like, I don't want to injure this dude, but just like, you're just caught up in the moment. That's what it seemed like to me. But again, if it was a suspension, seems a little far for me. So,
all right, Caleb, finish the last.
No, I agree. I think it's way too far. And I'm not, for the record, I'm not even a Draymond fan. I don't like Draymond Green like that. Like I don't. I think I think he talks too much mess to not be good. Like you can't average 4 points and be talking about other teams suck. We the best. It's like, Joker, shut up. What did you do? You know what I mean?
He reminds me of
just stop. So
I get it.
I'm not a fan of him like that, but I just think this situation it's way blown out of proportion and it shouldn't have happened.
He does run, and I know somebody said it earlier, I don't remember what it was. He does remind me of a Rodman, this generation's Rodman, or even back when I was at, our 90s Knicks teams had Charles Oakley, a guy that he didn't score a lot, but he did all that hard work. He did all the dirty work, and he has that kind of mentality.
Yeah, but it's a little disrespectful to say that to Rodman because Rodman's averaging 20 rebounds.
Yeah, Rodman was a whole different animal altogether. 20. But I'm saying what he brought to the team though, as far as like
I get it. I mean, he has the Rodman vibes minus the tattoos and nipple rings. I get it.
And wedding dress.
And Rodman was with all that. He was having baddies. He had Carmen Electra for days. And all of that, like Dennis had Madonna, like he was the man. Yeah. So, I don't see Draymond out there wiggling like that. You know what I mean? So, but again, I think it wasn't fair. He shouldn't be suspended. That's all.
Agreed. All right. So one last talk before we get out of here. We're going to do a little debate topic. LeBron James's legacy. What team is it going to be closely tied to? Are we talking? Is it going to be the Lakers, but he was able to end his career on? Is it going to be the Cavaliers, being that he brought a championship to Cleveland for the first time? And he was drafted there; it was his hometown. Or is it going to be the Heat, where they were actually to be able to build one of those? They really changed the league when he went to the Heat, where you had now these three-headed monster teams. Let's go around the horn, Caleb. Where do you say his legacy is tied to the most?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no team. I think he'll supersede a team. It will just be LeBron James. He's the first real superstar to supersede a team because he's changed so many times, right? Michael Jordan will always be a Bull. Nobody cares what he did as a Wizard. That won't even be a part of his legacy. Mm-hmm. Magic Johnson is a Laker. Larry Bird is a Celtic. Isaiah Thomas is a Piston, right? Like those are even Giannis is a Buck. Right? Yeah. But LeBron is a warrior for hire. He will go to any team. So his legacy is LeBron James. He supersedes a team, in my opinion. And now I could be crazy, and you know what I mean? But that's how I feel. I don't think it will be a team. They'll throw him Cleveland because that's where he's from. But no. LeBron is just as much a Cavalier as he is a Heat, as he is a Laker. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. So I think he'll supersede teams. It will be LeBron James.
All right. Matt, what do you got?
I like that point, actually.
I really feel like you shut everybody down with that point, actually.
I'm going to say Cleveland. I'm going Cleveland because he put them on the map. That was like his hometown team. Mm-hmm. He pissed everybody off with his bullshit fucking decision TV show.
Yeah.
But then he came back and he brought him a title to his hometown team. So I think that narrative is my favorite one. But to Caleb's point, he's gone he was like the darling of the league. Is this guy going to be the next Jordan, to going to Miami being like the enemy of the league? Man, I got a lot of cops.
I don't hear it
because of that 420 going on.
Yeah,
True.
and then later on he wanted to go to LA and he brought them a title too. So, but I'm going Cleveland. I like that narrative better.
I go Cleveland too for the same reasons that you just said. When he went to the Heat, it was to be like the bad boy of the NBA. He wanted people to. I think he wanted to be like the attention on him to be the bad guy at that point. Yeah. He wanted to be the villain, which I get. Like it's great for his story. But again, then coming back to Cleveland, like the returning hero, was like, and he when you hear him talk, he'll equate those years in Miami almost as like, well, he went to college and learned how to close out a championship. It was like he went to college in Miami and then he came back home and he set up shop in Cleveland and won a title in Cleveland. So I go Cleveland too, being that it was his hometown place. He started his career there. I would have loved him to really have finished his career there. I think it would have been even more important for that legacy for him to do that. But I get why he wanted to go to LA. I completely understand it. Nigel, what do you got?
Caleeb, you are a goddamn genius. A genius.
Thank you. I've been called worse, so I'll take it.
This is where I'm gonna land. We're running out of time. I'm gonna land right in the middle between Caleeb and Matt, and this is why I say this because Caleeb, I think you're absolutely 100% correct. This cat has specific moments that we all are going to remember for the rest of his career and for the rest of the NBA's life. We know he was the hometown hero, brings Cleveland his first championship. Nobody can defeat that run. Bops over to Miami. Again, that team was manufactured. That's a big conversation. But so you have those big three, boom, brings them championships. Then we have, sure, the return, but I want to talk about bopping over to LA. Of course, at this point in his career, he is Showtime now. Like he is a bigger deal and no other place, no other floor can handle him other than the lights of LA. So I think that those moments give me solace in the fact that I think it is just LeBron James as a name, LeBron legacy James. I think that's just his title. And so that's why I'm jockeying in between because I think Matt's right. I think for me, it is the number one as well in terms of going home, man. You brought a championship home. Like that is, I would love to do that.
For the first time, too.
For the first time. Like, do you know how many people would want to? He single-handedly rebranded that whole franchise. Like it's bananas to think of. But again, I'm probably gonna lean more to Caleeb's point. LeBron is a general legacy. That's it for me.
And real quick, he will retire a Cavalier. When he retires, he'll go back and do the one-day contract.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because he's from there. So he's going to do that. And the only thing I'll push back real quick, Gene, I'll just say this quickly. He did not want to be the villain in Miami. He thought the world was going to embrace him and love him. And they started booing him. And Dwayne Wade told them, you got to embrace that.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Maybe, but he did a good job of it.
And then but he did not. He was still trying to be the golden boy.
Did he think everyone was going to be happy with him when he goes to a New York Knicks neighborhood and go Miami Heat? Not the maybe I can only talk as a Knicks fan and how he was viewed in New York. I think if there was any city that was almost as mad as Cleveland for him leaving and picking Miami, it was New York. New York had to be the second most outraged city.
He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school as the chosen one.
I know.
He did not think the world was going to turn on. Why do you think he did a big thing and it was an event to see where he was going?
Yeah. No,
he thought they were going to love him.
But the Knicks fans, we thought like, oh, so you come to Connecticut where that's Knicks territory. It was almost like he did it there to troll the Knicks fans.
But that's also the home. That's also the home base of ESPN. So you can't give him heat for that, though. Like I mean,
he wanted to do it at
in Miami.
I'm just as a Knicks fan. Listen. My son wasn't allowed to have LeBron James sneakers in the house when he was a kid because we same way I wouldn't wear back in the day. I wouldn't wear Jordans because I was a Knicks fan. Wouldn't wear Jordans. I amended that. That
sucks because you're missing out on some good sneakers.
I amended it, and I also I just went with the Air Forces. You know what? I'm not getting Jordans. I'm just gonna get the Air Forces. And then for the longest time, there was no LeBron James when he was in the Heat. On the Heat, and I was a Knicks fan. No LeBron James sneakers. And then I amended that rule, so I ended up giving in again. But yeah, as a Knicks fan, like I said, we thought it was like a foregone conclusion he was going to be a Knick. We thought there's no way he's turning up the Garden. Because could you imagine him coming to the Garden and turning around that team? Like he would have been. He's already a god. He's already a god, but I mean, could he? It would have been.
No one can
Pipe
turn
dreams.
around that team. No one can turn around that.
Pipe
team.
dreams. That was never going to happen.
Oh no, Jalen Brunson's turning it around as we speak. Go ask Stephen A. Smith. All right, guys, time for our last words. Nigel, last words of the day.
Hey, listen, I love you. Thank you for showing up today and listening. We had a lot of jokes on this pod. It felt fun, felt comfy. I'm not a hockey fan, but I'm supporting my Leafs right now. Shout out to my boy Matty Hamilton on the pod. And you know what, guys? Have a great weekend, man. I'll catch you guys next week.
You know, and Nigel, go have a fun day hanging out with the Marlies on 420 day. Matt, last words of the day.
Oh, go Leafs, go! We need this one so bad.
It can't be any worse.
Yeah.
Caleb, last words of the day.
As I always say, spread love is the Brooklyn way, y'all. Have a good one.
Guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow. It's our getaway day tomorrow. We'll be talking a little bit of football, a little bit of basketball, maybe even a little bit of baseball. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. For Caleb, Matt, Nigel, I am Gene. Guys, have a great today, a better tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Peace.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.